Welcome to our presentation on elasticity. This is part two. We're going to talk about income elasticity of demand and other types of elasticities. In presentation part one, we mentioned income elasticity of demand. The formula is the same except for the fact that in the denominator, we're looking at the percentage change in income instead of price. Income is the force acting on our rubber band now. A change in income will change the demand for goods and services. You notice the coefficient is EY instead of EP. This represents income elasticity instead of price elasticity of demand. Now, the income elasticity of demand coefficient is positive. Remember, our demand elasticity coefficient was negative. There was a negative correlation between price and demand. We understand this pretty intuitively. As price goes up, demand goes down in accordance with the law of demand. For income elasticity, this coefficient is usually positive, and this is significant. Typically, demand for goods will go up as our incomes go up. Simply, we have more money to spend, and the demand for goods goes up. The goods we demand more of as our incomes go up are considered normal or superior goods. However, this is not always true, and the coefficient may also be negative. There are some items out there that we buy less of as our incomes go up. Therefore, the relationship between income and demand would be inversely correlated, and the coefficient becomes negative. The goods we demand less of as our incomes go up are considered inferior goods. We can see that income elasticity can be either positive or negative. Demand may go up or down depending on our change in income. If the income elasticity is less than zero or negative, this means that an increase in income results in a decrease in demand for a good. These goods are inferior, and they typically consist of commodities such as ground beef, pork and beans, or canned luncheon meat. We buy less pork and beans as we make more money. The chart below shows inferior, normal, and superior or luxury goods. The vertical axis is the amount of money spent on the good, or the demand for that good. The horizontal axis is our level of income. So you can see that when our incomes are very low, our demand for inferior goods is very high. We spend a lot of our income on inferior goods when our incomes are very low. Our demand for normal goods is at zero when our income is at zero. The demand for luxury goods is also at zero. Now, as our incomes increase on the horizontal axis, you can see that the demand for inferior goods, or the money spent on inferior goods, goes down. In the middle graph, representing normal goods, we can see that the demand for these goods increases as our incomes increase. This increase in demand is immediate, but it also eventually tapers off as our demand levels out, even as our incomes continue to increase. The luxury good graph, the one depicting superior goods, initially shows no change as our incomes go up until a point at which we start making enough money to be able to afford these luxuries. Then the demand starts rising very quickly. But there is a gap between the zero income and the point at which we actually start buying luxury goods. Notice that the luxury good graph continues to go up as our incomes increase while the demand for normal goods tapers off. Here are some income elasticities of various products. You can see that restaurant meals are at 1.6, while air travel between the United States and Europe is at 1.9. These are superior goods or luxuries. Fresh meat is also considered a superior good. The income elasticity for groceries is around 0.5, making this a normal good. It's greater than 0, but less than 1.0. Elasticity for gasoline is between 0.35 and 0.55 and is considered a normal good. Normal goods include staples such as groceries, gasoline, and fish. Fish is in the kind of fish we eat, not pet fish. So you can see why the demand for normal goods eventually tapers off. Even as our incomes continue to increase, we reach a point at which we don't buy any more gasoline or groceries. We might still continue to buy jewelry and perhaps travel more to Europe as our incomes continue to increase. Inferior goods include luncheon meat and potatoes, commodities that are easily substituted with normal or superior goods as our incomes go up. Can you think of some other items that we might see a decrease in demand for as our incomes increase? Price elasticity of supply uses the same equation as price elasticity of demand and income elasticity of demand, except we're substituting supply for demand. It measures the percentage change in quantity supplied resulting from a 1% change in price. Instead of measuring the change in consumer demand, we're measuring the change in quantities produced by suppliers because of the change in price. Also note that the price elasticity of supply is positively correlated with price, and thus the coefficient is positive. As price goes up, supply goes up, and vice versa. Cross elasticity of demand refers to the change in demand for a good resulting from the price change of another good. Now, this other good needs to be related somehow to the good in which the price changes. The item might be a substitute or a complement to the good in which the price changed. For example, if the price of hot dogs increases, what might happen to the demand for hamburgers, even if the price of hamburgers remained the same? These items are substitutes for each other. If the price of hot dogs increase, we also might see an effect on the demand for hot dog buns, a complementary product. When we buy hot dogs, we also usually buy buns. We rarely buy buns without buying hot dogs. So if the price of hot dogs increases and demand for them goes down, what would happen for the demand for hot dog buns? Other elasticity measures include advertising and interest rate elasticity. Advertising elasticity simply measures the change in demand resulting from a change in advertising expenditures a company makes. Advertising generic and brand name meats was studied, and it was found that a 10% increase in brand advertising resulted in a 0.7% increase in beef consumption, a 0.33% increase in pork consumption, and a 0.5% increase in the consumption of chicken. This means there's a positive correlation between advertising and demand for the products advertised. Interest rate elasticity simply refers to the change in demand for durable goods such as cars and homes as a result of a change in interest rates. Since we finance these types of purchases, the interest rate has a huge bearing on the price we actually pay for these items. So a decrease in interest rates will result in an increase in demand for homes and cars. In the 1980s, car sales increased because of very low interest rates. The federal government also uses interest rates in order to increase the demand for these durable goods. They'll lower the interest rates in order to entice prospective car and home buyers to make these purchases because it fosters economic growth. We discussed several types of elasticity, including income elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply, and cross elasticity of demand. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and that it was enlightening for you. I know we covered a lot of material in the last two presentations, but the great thing is about these presentations is you can pause and rewind. You can take notes. Feel free to go back and review the material in order to get a better understanding of these very important microeconomic concepts.